Welcome to my blog. I'm David Hoblowitz. Have you been getting a lot of invitations to online meetings lately? Maybe WebEx or Zoom meetings? It might be with work, it might be with your Toastmasters club or other organizations, schoolmates, any of these things. Well, it's all about this coronavirus thing and how we're finding ourselves in lockdown, but we still need to talk to people. What they're saying, we need to be socially distanced. What they really mean is we need to be physically distanced, but we still need to be socially connected and close. And that's where this technology comes into play. These web meetings actually make life easier in some ways, in that now we have the ability to talk with people and actually come into each other's living rooms and work together even when we're not physically close. Along with that, people aren't really used to these tools. I will say that in the last week, I think I've had as many invitations to online meetings as I did in the whole last year. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the things you can do to use these tools. And this might help you a little bit. And if it does, I hope you'll share it with others. Starting with all these meetings that we have, one of the things that I've been doing is Toastmasters. Well, Toastmasters has always been where we get together and have a physical meeting. It can be a real challenge to do some of these roles in an online or distance setting. So I'm going to cover some of those. And in fact, specifically, I want to talk about the timer role. Now, all this stuff I present, while it's specific to being a timer in Toastmasters, the same rules can apply to any meeting you're in. So with that in mind, let me tell you a little bit about the timer role in Toastmasters. Right now, we're looking at my screen. I'm in a Zoom meeting, and I've got three cameras. My desktop computer right here in front of me, and then over here I have my iPad, and then to this side I have my Android phone. Now all three of them are in the same meeting. And a few things I want to tell you about. First of all, I have already pinned the picture that you're looking at. I have pinned this camera, which is in my desktop, pinned it to the middle of the screen. If I right click on that, I can unpin that video. And now whichever one is talking is going to get the audio. It's going to jump to that. Now I also like to use the gallery view. So I'm going to click on that. This way I see everybody. They're all the same size. You can see everything going on at one time. This is very helpful when you're collaborating and everybody's talking back and forth. But in Toastmasters, you typically have one person who's speaking. So with that in mind, you don't want it bouncing back and forth, and you don't want to watch all of them. You really just want to watch that person who's giving that speech. So how do we do that? Well, that's where I go back to. I'll right-click on it, and I will pin that video. There you go. Now with that going on, the view that I'm using right now is actually what we're going to do over there on the speakers video, and I'll get to that in a minute. If you notice one of these, in fact, let me switch back to the other view so that I can show this to you. Speaker, David's phone, I've already labeled that. He's going to be speaking. Now, the iPad, I'll leave as iPad, and that's just another audience member. And then what I'm going to do is for this camera, I'm going to right-click on it, and I am going to rename. And now, instead of just my name, I'm going to put in here at the beginning, timer. So this is the camera that's going to be the person who's being the timer for this meeting. Where does this come into play? Well, the role of the timer is to present to the speaker those cards, the green, yellow, and red, so they know where they are in their speech time. They don't want to go over, they don't want to go under. So with that in mind, you have to have a way to give them that information. So first, let's show you how the timer can notify or keep up to date the timing for the speaker. The speaker is going to pin the video for the timer. So now the timer's video right here, Timer Dave, is going to be his primary video. This is what the speaker's view is going to look like. Everybody else will have the speaker's video pinned to their screen. Keeping that in mind, they're really not necessarily going to notice what's going on with the timer screen. In fact, in some of these, like on the phone, it doesn't show any other videos. It's only showing the person who's speaking. So that's great because it's less distracting. You don't have all those other things going on. And oftentimes, what will happen is that in a meeting where you have a lot, the host may opt to mute all of the videos as well as all of the audios. Now, every club will do things a little differently. It's nice to get the feedback of applause, and that's certainly an option that you might explore. But specifically for the timer, I have pinned the video for my video has been pinned to the speaker's screen. Now here's the next part of this. I want to be able to show the colors green, yellow, and red. Well, how do I do that? I click on the up arrow, and this is on a PC, on a Windows PC. When I click on the up arrow next to the video, it's a little different on the iPad. You tap on the iPad and you bring up your video. Or over here on the
cell phone,
it doesn't have that feature. At least I haven't found it yet. Normally I'm not watching a video on my
cell phone,
but in this case I'm using that as the speaker's role. So with that in mind, just so I have 3 cameras, what I'm going to do is choose virtual background. Now again, we're in Zoom. You have a similar feature in WebEx. All right, right now I happen to have 3 other images here. You may or may not have these. You may have nothing in here. And normally it's set to none. I'm going to click on Add Image. I happen to have 4 images already created. Now you're going to, where can I get those? Well, I'll show you where these are stored. I have already posted them on a website. I'm going to cancel this to get this so that it'll get out of the way. And it'll bring to the foreground my browser. If you go to that's bit.ly/timer backgrounds. That's the shortcut URL that I've created, bit.ly/timer backgrounds. I'll hit enter. And this is on a Google Drive. And you can download these. Once you've downloaded them, you put them in a place where you can reach them. Then we'll come back and select them here. So I'm going to click Add Image. Again, I've already downloaded them. I like to pull them in order because they're going to stay in order on your screen from the order that you've added them. So I'll click on White Page, and I'll explain what that's for in a moment. Green, open. Add Image. Yellow, open. Add Image. Red. All right, so now we've got those in there. And you notice my background changes every time I pick them. We're going to start off with none. All right, how does this work? Well, the speaker starts talking. The moment the speaker starts talking, I, as the timer, will click on my background. Boom, my background now looks like this. I'm going to get this out of the way. And normally as the timer, you'll just have this available. You'll keep these virtual background up and available. But that's what my background looks like. So now the speaker knows I have a white screen and it says timing. And what you don't see, let me see if I can do this. So you're seeing my screen and it's inverted. And you're like, well, that's goofy, that's backwards. Well, no, let's look at what it actually looks like. This is what it looks like on the iPad. I'm going to get whited out here. It's going to look a little weird. All right, let's turn off my background for just a moment so it'll display a little bit better. Now you can see, oh, that's cool. Oh, but if I turn it off, you can't see it. All right. Hey, well, you know, I'm going to do this in one take. I'm not going to bother taking back and forth. So let's turn that back on. And I'm going to use a different color because I think the white wasn't good. I'll keep going. When you get to the green, you're going to click on green. Now I have a green background. Now I wanted to show you that it does, in fact, with this. Now you can read. All right, it reads backwards there, but it's oh, it's backwards because the video flips. There you go. The video is flipping. I assure you, what I'm reading there is G-R-E-E-N and not N-E-E-R-G. So with that in mind, we're just having fun with this, aren't we? I've switched it to green. Now when my clock gets to the 6 minutes, if I'm doing a 5 to 7 minute, then I'm going to click on the yellow background and then, of course, the red background. Now, with that in mind, well, you're going, well, wait a minute. What about the audience? Right now, I've got all of them displayed up here on the top, but I may not have all of those displayed. Some of the audience members may say, just show me the speaker or the active voice. Well, in that case, they're going to miss out. They're not going to see the timer. So the idea is you do this in combination. That is, turn on chat, and I have it set to everyone, and it's important to have that set to everyone so that they all see it, and I'm going to type in here in the message box. So, to start from the beginning, when you're getting ready to start the speech, we first start off with none for my background. And before they start speaking, I'm going to type in here started. Now, I don't hit enter yet. When the speaker starts speaking, I do two things. I change my background, I click over here, hit enter. Boom. Now, all of the people can be watching the chat. They see that the time has started. When we get close to green, before that time, I want to type in. I'm going to type in green, but I'm not going to hit enter yet. All right? They get to the 5-minute mark. Boom, I hit green, and I switch it to green. Now, what's important in all of this, remember that the speaker is the person who needs to get the most accurate time. So make sure that your timing is right for the background color. You can tap green when it's like 2 seconds before, and then switch your background. Again, when yellow is coming up, we're going to type in yellow. And we wait, we're getting close. We get to 6 minutes, I hit enter there, and I switch it to yellow. And then, of course, you repeat the same thing with red if they go to the point where they're in red, and you leave it to red to be the end of it. So these are the things you can do for running a timer. If you have a meeting where it has various components that are like this, or if you have something where you have a presentation type of speech going on where the timer is separate from the speaker, and of course, oftentimes the speaker will also be timing themselves. But in Toastmasters, that's not how we do it. Well, there you have it. A few of the tools that you can use with WebEx or with Zoom, and hopefully this will make your life a little easier and a little bit smoother as we get used to this whole new way of being socially connected yet physically distanced. Cheers! One last tip I want to share with you. Today I was the timer in a speech contest. And in a contest, they have just 2 videos showing, the speaker and the timer. Now, it's important that my video is showing, but you don't need to see me. This can be very distracting to the speaker. Real simple trick, get something to cover up the lens of your camera. I have this little piece of paper here that I drop over it. By the way, it's useful to have something like that for when you're not using your camera anyway, in case your computer gets some malicious software. You don't want it using your camera when you don't want it to. Now, when I go through the virtual backgrounds, all they see are the colors and the words. Then at the end of the speech, you can take the cover off. They'll turn all of the cameras on so everybody can see each other and mingle. I hope you found this helpful. If you come up with any ideas on how to improve it or how to do this better, please share them in the comments or wherever you see this posted online. Stay safe, and we'll see you at the next web meeting. Cheers!